do you think that lockdown, which threw us to working from home, not being able to go outside as much as we used to, and using our living rooms as, or other rooms as our new place of work, impacts our ability to proper rest and relax?
Yeah, very much so. I'm hearing it a lot from people in, I think we associate rooms with a headspace.
Yes, for sure.
And I think when you're working in a space that you might normally sleep, or you're working in a space where you might normally rest, it does have an impact, as it makes it more difficult to step away from it. And I think being at home and not having, a commute to work, not having that journey to and from work where you might brief or debrief or talk yourself through what the day ahead looks like, or what the day that's just passed was like, I think it's really difficult. And I think especially when, this has come up a couple of times in different conversations about different things, but I think even, for people who are homeschooling, everything just kind of went into one big melting pot. So it was very difficult for people to change their physical space, but also just to change their mental, emotional headspaces as well. And not being able to go out as much when we were in the very strict lockdown, when the gyms were closed, and lots of people's coping strategies that help balance those things out were restricted or removed completely. So I think it's had a huge difference. And there were people who were homeschooling during the day, and so working into the evening, which disrupts that natural pattern of winding down before going to sleep. There were also, I heard of people were getting up early to get some work done before children woke up, or because they kind of like a relay race with partners of who was going to work and when, because there was one computer, one desk. So it was, some people were, doing that to try and make things work. So I think, I think also less activity means that you're going to bed still with quite a lot of energy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Your head really busy, but your body is still got lots of energy left in it, because you haven't expended that normal energy level that you would do if you were walking to and from meetings, or walking to and from work, and all of those things. So I think sleep has been there's been quite a big impact on sleep, but also on how people have taken that downtime, and kind of conscious downtime, rather than I've got half an hour between calls downtime of like, okay, I'm going to switch off, I'm going to switch my phone off, I'm going to walk away from the desk, I'm actually going to separate the two. Those lines got really blurred for people. So
completely agree. Because as you know, I'm still working from home since March. I've been working from home, so I have a full-time job in the office. Same with my partner; he also works from home. And yes, I'm working from the bedroom. I have my desk in the bedroom, which isn't great. My partner usually works in the living room, which again isn't really great. So for me, I struggle with doing some creative work by sitting by the same desk that I do my other office work. So what I've started doing now, we have a little spare bedroom with a little desk there, not big enough for two screens, but it's big enough for my personal laptop, where I can actually sit down and do some creative work, because it's completely different energy in the room. I don't feel like I'm actually working, and my brain works completely differently in that room. I did work in the living room as well for quite a while, but again, because that is the room that I relax in, I didn't like it. What I tend to do now, when I finish work, I switch my laptop off, and I put it away so I can't see it, because I feel like when it's there and it's staring at you, you can't fully relax, because you're really thinking about your day tomorrow, or if you did everything that you had to do today, and you can't fully relax. So I just started putting it away where I can't see it.
I definitely, our environment has a huge impact on how we feel. So environment impacts that, our physical state. So even just where you're sitting and how you're sitting.
Yeah.
I would be the first to admit sometimes, if I haven't got any clients until the afternoon, sometimes it's quite nice to sit in bed in the morning with the laptop and the coffee and just clear off bits and pieces. Now, before lockdown, I didn't think twice about that because it wasn't really so much of an issue, because I would get up, I would, I'd get washed and dressed, I might go out for a bit and I'd come back. But when lockdown happened, and I thought, actually, this could be a bit of a slippery slope in spending lots of time in there. So I have been more strict about up, washed, showered, dressed at the desk, and leaving everything in here, more so in lockdown. But even just the act of shutting the laptop and shutting things down and putting it all away, it just makes that connection, doesn't it, of this is closed, this is finished, and moving into a different space makes all of the difference. But you look at the advice, Matthew Walker on his book about sleep, he talks about you shouldn't have other activities in the bedroom, you shouldn't read, you shouldn't watch TV, and you shouldn't work in your sleep space. Your brain needs to connect that this is the space where I sleep. So he goes as far as saying, if you wake up in the night and you can't go back to sleep, to move to a different room and read or do something that helps you to relax until you feel sleepy, and then go back to bed.
That's right.
Working in these spaces can make a big difference. So anything that we can do that helps send that message to the brain of this work is now finished, and now we're moving into a rest space or a comfortable space, relaxation space, can make a big difference. I talk to quite a lot of people about that, whether home and work is an on-off switch or more of that sort of dial. And I think people have kind of half on, half off. And I think as much as we can, and I know it's not possible logistically for everybody, but for as much as we can, to say, right, work is now switched off, family, personal life is now switched on. And really create a routine and some boundaries about that is really important, because it's those boundaries, isn't it, of people answering emails. And if you send an email, somebody on the other end feels that they need to reply to it, and then people, you only answer one call and it sends the message that you're happy to take calls into the evening. So setting those boundaries of I'm now in work mode and I'm now in home mode is really important. But are we working from home or are we at home working? This isn't going to change anytime soon for a lot of people. So if boundaries aren't in place now, it's a good opportunity to just sit down and say, right, what, like you've done, okay, what's working, we'll do that. What's not working that we might be able to do, or try something different to see if that helps.
Yeah, that's it. I think that was a good time to reflect, because I think at the beginning of lockdown, everybody thought, this is temporary, I'll be back to work soon, I'll be back in the office or whatever else. But now, because we were told that possibly the situation is going to stay as it is for the next 6 months, if not longer, maybe shorter, who knows. Now is probably a good time to sit down and reflect and look back at the last 6 months. Like you said, what worked, what didn't work, what can I change to help me in the next 6 months, to survive it, or to make it better for myself, and set the boundaries, and perhaps have the conversation with your boss if you need to, or speak to your partner if you need to. Now is probably the perfect time.
And the sooner we create it as a permanent routine, even if we know that permanent might only be 6 months, the sooner there's that acceptance and certainty, we create that certainty of this is how it's going to be. Even if we just work a month at a time, it takes away or reduces some of that stress around the worry of the what ifs, what if that happens. So again, this comes up every time, that circle of control. What can you take control of? How can you create that certainty? How can you create that routine that works for you? And I think that's the difference between who I'm seeing is coping well with these circumstances is what they're doing is they're making decisions and saying, right, I don't know what's going to happen in 6 months' time. I do know what's going to happen over the next month. So this is what's in place. This is how I'm going to make it work. This is what my routine will look like. And I will, if I need to make any changes, I'll worry about that at the end of the month. And so then they create that routine for themselves, even if it's for a shorter period of time. But it's the more we think about the things that we don't have answers to, the more we feel that stress, and then that stress impacts the rest, the switch off, and sleep. We're constantly thinking about it. So the more you kind of bring into your control, make some decisions, and make it work in the best way possible. It might not be ideal, but if you can take control and make that work, then you just park the uncertainty until there's a time where you've got some answers to work with. And that's what I'm noticing is kind of one of the common themes of people who are working through this in a pretty good way, is that they're able to do that. So otherwise that constant worry does impact rest, and it does impact sleep. So we don't download it and we don't work it through, it will reappear at 3, if not 4 o'clock in the morning, doesn't it?
Exactly.